Hey, Latigo,
What can I do for you, Eleven?
you want to see some real magic?
Always.
Z, you want to help out? I could, if you guys want, I could use your help on this one. It's gonna be a really cool one.
Sure.
And he'll start kind of just setting some stuff up on like the workbench, and start just kind of putting a couple different little beakers kind of laid out, and set a bucket next to the little workbench. Um, Hey, Latigo, you're pretty good at holding like a rhythm, right? I mean, you perform and stuff, and you like know music, right?
That could be said, yes.
If you could, I'm gonna pour some liquids into this bucket. If you could just stir at just like a nice steady pace,
Okay.
just like really slow, and just kind of keep it moving. What I'm trying to get is if you can just remove all the bubbles from it, and just create a nice kind of viscous ooze in here, but I'm gonna have to just kind of one by one put some of this stuff in here. So if you can hold and stir that. Here, Z,
What am I doing?
here, take this. And then I'll hand you just like a piece of paper, and on it will be just like a arcane circle, a pretty rudimentary one. If you can, on the dirt over there, if you can just clear some leaves, are you able to maybe just with a stick, just kind of carve this into the ground a little bit, and just make sure you get all the lines? If you could do that for me.
Yeah, okay. I'll give it a go.
Awesome. And then I'll just start kind of taking one little beaker and plop it into the bucket, and it's just like translucent kind of ooze with like bubbles, and it just kind of keeps the coffee and the stirring. And as I'm doing this, Talo, what are you doing the whole time?
Actually drinking some water. Just prepping components and stuff like that.
um,
Herm's gonna get so tired, Reese.
It
Yeah.
already is.
Committed to the bit. Committed to the bit. Tallow, you want in on this?
What? And then once she's kind of like in her own world, she realizes she's being talked to, and then like pulls her hair down. What? What happened?
Do you want in on this? I could use your help on something if you want.
What are you doing?
I'm showing the Tigo what some really good magic is like. But this one takes a little bit of time and a couple things.
Okay, I can help.
You know herbs and stuff, yeah?
Yeah.
Here, and I'll hand you just like this, kind of just sack, and it's just got a bunch of like basil in it. If you can just like
Go
pull
sell
the
this to a
leaves,
high school kid.
if you can like, yeah, go sell this to one of the guards. No, if you can just like take the leaves off from the bushes in there, I just need like a pile of just the basil leaves would be great.
Okay. And then I guess she'll
Thanks.
do that. But then also take and pocket some for herself
Okay.
in your stash.
Oh no, I had just enough. No. Casal, I have something for you too if you want.
Magic?
Yep, magic.
I don't do magic, kid.
No, it's alright. You don't have to do the magic. I'm gonna do the magic. If you can just follow Z, and he'll hand you just like this jar of black powder, not the gunpowder. Can you just pour this into the lines that she makes, just very thinly, wherever she's tracing? I could use that a lot. I have to kind of manage these beakers, so I could do it afterwards, but I'll just pour
If
it
this will
over.
get us on the road faster, I'll do it.
Yeah, sure. It's a on the road faster spell that I'm gonna work on. And I'll just kind of keep pouring the liquid in the bucket until it's maybe like 2/3 of the way full. And just kind of look back at what everyone else is doing with all that stuff. Yeah, I keep looking at that. It's like you like smelt him a couple times. Um, after a little bit of that, just getting all that stuff ready, and when the circle's done and the leaves and everything, I'll walk over with the bucket. I'm like, "Thanks, Latigo. How's your arm?"
I'm gonna feel it for a while.
Well, it looks good. I don't see any bubbles or anything, so thanks. And I'll go and take the bucket and just kind of sit it in the middle of the arcane circle. And then I'll ask Tallow for the basil leaves. And I'll do the same, just kind of set those in a pile in the middle. And then I'll take the pearl that I had out and I'll set that down in the middle with that. We should make sure that none of the guards flip out when they see this. So,
Look over at the
And
guards
I'll-
and I yell, "Be calm!"
Would you like me to create a distraction? Oh wait, I mean you want me to see this, I suppose,
What?
but
What's
Yeah,
about to
I mean,
happen?
really cool.
What's gonna get their attention?
Oh, nothing. Just magic. You guys have seen magic before.
I am
And,
not instilled with a great amount of confidence.
Oh, that's okay. Just stand back a little bit from the circle. You don't want to be hit by anything.
Latigo
Um,
takes like one of those exaggerated, like giant steps back.
And I'll take my short sword out and I'll hold it kind of pointy end down on like the base of the blade, and I'll hold it out kind of standing at the edge of the circle. And then I'll take out my book and I'll open it up to a page, and then I'll read from it. Blood, Gadir, Aderna, Blood, Moy, Leaf, Gath, Leaf, Athir, Yahweh, Idaltir. And then close the book and put it down.
Can we know what language that is? Do any of us speak it?
It's called random Google chant search.
Never mind.
I took Google as a feat, thank you very much.
It's a ancient witch chant that is in a language. I don't know.
Okay. Thought it'd be
And,
cool. Just do whatever you say.
I know. I wish I should have just chose like an actual language for it. Maybe I should have thought ahead on that one. Anyway, and then I'll just kind of look and be like, "Well, hope none of you guys aren't squeamish around blood." And I'll jam the sword into the ground and slide my hand down the edge of the blade. And as blood kind of gushes out of my hand, it will pour into the edges of the arcane circle and quickly kind of catch on with the black powder and kind of spread really quickly around the entire circle into all the nooks and crevices. And as that happens, the blood will start to kind of bubble up and start to kind of spring really thin tendril-like tendrils, there we go, up into the air, and they kind of just start squirming kind of around, and they start to reach in and they grab like the iridescent goo that's in the bucket, and they start kind of pulling it out, and almost like hands start to mold it, and it becomes this long kind of cylinder. And as the cylinder kind of starts to take shape even more, one end becomes a little bit pointed, and they start to kind of form like a face kind of on the other end. It starts to look a little bit more like just this long, lifeless, iridescent, goopy snake. And then halfway up the body, 4 legs pop, kind of pop out of it as the blood tendrils kind of pull the legs out of it. And then on the head, kind of 2 horns, and then 2 little ears kind of pop up. And it's just kind of lifelessly there, and the blood starting to kind of seep into the goop as it starts to kind of create almost like a vein-like structure from within it. And then as it's sitting there lifeless, some of the blood kind of wraps, the rest of it starts to kind of wrap around the pearl as the pearl starts to kind of hover in place. And as the blood kind of gets pulled completely out of the arcane circle, covering around the pearl just shoots into the center of the goop, into like the place where like a heart would be. And the thing kind of springs to life, like eyes open, light up, and it starts to kind of flip around, and then starts to kind of like fly around within the circle, and kind of just flippantly like zooming around, and then barrel rolls into the pile of basil leaves and starts to kind of just roll around in them. And it starts to kind of cover itself and just kind of sits there after a little bit of the leaves on it, and starts to kind of like asphyxiate the leaves to itself, almost like scales. And I'll put a little picture in the chat of what it looks like.
Happening.
So like this would be like the scales. And
Ooh.
then
Yep.
this is kind of the like beginning image, but it's like an iridescent, but now covered in that.
Oh.
That's way less horrifying than what I was
It's so
picturing.
cute. I know, me too.
But it just
Super
looks like a little lizard snake that has basil leaves over it. And then Levin will kind of wrap his hand up to stop the bleeding, and then he'll walk out as it's like kind of situating its leaves to like not be so sporadic all over itself. And it's kind of just like floating off the ground. And we'll go, "Hi, I'm Levin, and you're Basil. Here, come with me." For stat purposes, Miriam, this is a homunculus servant. And I will kind of walk over to everyone else in the party, and I'll walk over to Latigo and say, "Basil, this is Latigo."
I have seen a great many things. I have never seen anything quite like that.
Latigo, can you just tip your hat and say hello?
It is a pleasure to meet you.
Basil, can you do the same back? And Basil will just like lift a little leaf and put it back on. And then I'll go over to Tallow and be like, "Tallow, this is Basil. Basil, this is Tallow." And no, go ahead.
I'm gonna say, hello, Basil. I'm sorry I chewed some of your scales, and the ones that I pocketed, I'll pull out. And be like, do you want to switch them out for these ones? They're fresher.
Maybe it does. It takes like one or two and just kind of like swaps it out.
Yeah, and I take the ones with the bite marks and just put them back in my mouth.
And it's like you can see like the leaves are in scales, but like the goop is like covering it a little bit to kind of like hold all the leaves in place. But it still kind of covers all the insides a little bit in. And I'll be like, Latigo or Tallow, can you just lean in with your forehead? And then Basil, you do the same, and she'll just kind of like rest her head on your forehead, or they will rest. I don't know. Didn't get that far. And
Got pretty far.
yeah, and then I'll go over to Casal. I'm like, Casal, this is Basil. Basil, this is Casal.
Hey,
And Casal, you want to just hold out your hand for me? And then I'll have Basil, I want you to do the same, and she'll kind of reach the tail out, the long tail, and kind of wrap it around your hand. And then just kind of like a little squeeze if you want to squeeze back. And then it will release the grip on that. And then I'll go over to Z and be like, Basil, this is Z. Z, this is Basil. And
Hi
then
there.
Z, if you can just lean in a little bit as well. And then Basil, just with your nose right on their nose. And it just goes boop on your nose. And then I'll look to Basil and say, now, these are all good. These are all friendly. But if any of them ever greets you any differently, be very suspicious, as they might be under disguise or intruder. And then I will be like, Basil, come with me. You have a lot to learn right now. And I'll go over to the alchemy table and start trying to teach it like the basics of what the alchemy things are.